Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Hi, welcome to Chapter 0, Introduction to Basic Nutrition. Food Allergies and Restrictions, Part 2 by Professor Tammy. Learning Objectives. 1. Name the big 8 food allergies. 2. Explain the symptoms of food allergies, food intolerances, and food sensitivity. 3. Specify the differences between direct food contact and indirect food contact. 4. Understand the differences between food contact and food contamination. 5. List the different types of vegetarians there are. Food allergies. Allergies can cause severe reaction called anaphylaxis. It's like a difficulty breathing. You have a hard time breathing. Your breathing parts can be swollen. You can feel dizzy, or the worst case scenario, you can die from it. 40% of children with food allergies have experienced a severe allergic reaction, such as anaphylaxis. So story number 1, child died from cheese. So this child was in a Head Start program, which was quickly closed afterwards. The child was known to have dairy product allergies, and in the forms it says, oh, milk allergies, but the teacher didn't always put one to one together, saying, oh, cheese is made from milk, and serve the child cheese. Later on, the child care center called the parent, and when the mom arrived, they went to the hospital, but the child later died. So it's really important to know what your foods are made of. So especially with people with allergies, or you're hanging out with someone with allergies, it's really important to look at ingredients. Story number 2, child allergic to cherries and was served fruit cocktails. So in this story, this child was allergic to cherries. That was written in the medical chart. And sometime the class was served fruit cocktails, and fruit cocktails have, these cherries in there and other fruits. So the teacher would scoop the cherry out. The thing is, the cherry contaminated the fruit cocktail. What the teacher should have done was ask the kitchen for another fruit for the child, not scoop it out. But thank goodness the child did not have any reaction, even though the cherry was in the fruit cocktail that the child was served with. Story number 3, child has many allergies but overcame it. I actually saw this child, when I first saw this child year 1, the child had like 15 to 20 food allergies. So I ended up calling the doctor and said, most of our foods have rice, beef, chicken, apples, etc. And the doctor was so shocked that I called, that our Head Start was so concerned about the child's well-being. So the doctor and I spoke, because I was the nutritionist at that place at the time. And we made a portion size for the child. So based on what the child was allergic to, how much of that particular food we can serve the child safely. So I wrote down all the formula and submitted to the kitchen so they know. The only food that the child could not consume is apples during apple season, because the doctor told me that there's apple pollen in the air, so to also eat apples, it might be a double whammy. So that's the only season the doctor did not want the child to have apples. But all the other foods, the child could have maybe 1/4 of a cup, half a cup, and the child was okay. After 2 years, I was overseeing this child. the child only had maybe less than 5 allergies that we have to be concerned about. It could have been she overcame those allergies afterwards, or her body has gotten used to consuming a little bit of those foods that she was allergic to. What is the difference between cow milk allergy and lactose intolerance? Cow milk allergy is when you are allergic to the protein of the milk. That also means that you are allergic to ice cream, cheese, yogurt, and everything, whether it's cooked or not. So people with milk allergy, they cannot eat cake with milk in there. So it is really important to let them know. Lactose intolerance is a little different. It's when you don't create enough of these lactase enzyme to break down the lactose sugar from the milk. So what happens is, your colon starts breaking it down, and then you start getting gassy. So you can let out gas one end or the other end. So it is not life-threatening, the lactose intolerance, but it is very uncomfortable. So can you be allergic to both milk protein and be lactose intolerant? Yes, because they are two very different things. What are some foods that may have oil, fish oil, and shellfish? A lot of ethnic barbecue sauces also have fish oil and shellfish. So if you know people who are allergic to fish oil or shellfish, you might want to double check your sauce ingredients. Symptoms of allergic reaction. So they can range from the mouth, throat, skin, heart, lungs, and stomach. In the mouth, you can see itching or swelling of lips and or the tongue. Throat, itching, tight, hoarse throat, trouble swallowing. Skin, hives, itchy swelling or redness, or even worse, pale or blue coloring. Heart, weak pulse, dizziness, feeling faint or passing out, a drop in the blood pressure. Lungs, difficulty breathing, repeated cough and wheezing, Stomach, vomiting or stomach cramps, nausea, diarrhea. So all these allergic reactions are not fun. Okay, again, food allergies, intolerances, and sensitivity. So I made this little chart for you so it's easier to kind of understand it better. So for lab results, you know that food allergies and food intolerance will show up, but not in food sensitivity. What's life-threatening is the food allergies. Food intolerances and food sensitivity shouldn't be life-threatening. They're just very uncomfortable. And all three of them are not comfortable. Can consume less of it. Food allergies, maybe you need to talk to your doctor about. Food intolerances, maybe you can talk to your doctor about it. And food sensitivity, yes, you can consume less of it. And manageable, they're all manageable. So we did mention about food allergies that some people can have less of. Can people with food intolerances have less of it too? Well, if you ever met people with food intolerances like lactose intolerance, some people, their intolerance with milk, they have to drink lactate, but they can still eat ice cream or cheese or yogurt, probably because it's more processed. But there are also some people who can still drink milk, but less of it at a time, like maybe 2 ounces at a time. And there are people who totally cannot have ice cream or cheese or yogurt or milk. Even if they take those like lactase pills, it still doesn't work. See you soon.